So I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a pro tip. I'm going to tell you these things as I learned them about visiting Paris because I didn't really know that much. I've been here twice, but I've never really stayed here long enough to take the time to learn certain things. So I'm going to decide today to do a whole series on the underappreciated and undervalued museums of Paris. And let me tell you where this came from. So I went yesterday to get tickets to go see the Louvre. The Louvre, right? Louvre is probably the greatest art museum in the world. I mean, somebody's probably going to debate that, I'm guessing, but I'd love to know what you think is better than the Louvre. 73,000 square feet, exhibit after exhibit, obviously all these major famous pieces of art, right? But the problem is after fighting with the Louvre system for over an hour, I could only find one day in the next 2 to 3 weeks where I could spend almost the entire day at the Louvre. Because it's so big, I want to devote a whole day to it, right? That makes sense, right? I want to buy one ticket and spend the whole day because I'm cheap. And I fought with the system and I finally found that 2.5, 3 weeks from now, roughly, there is a Friday where I can get it at 9:30. Yay, awesome, I can spend the whole day, except then I went to buy tickets. I couldn't because the system was malfunctioning. And I don't know that they're going to be in a real hurry to fix that. So after trying to make the appointment, then I said, okay, well, let me look at some other museums. And what I learned was most museums are closed on Mondays. Makes sense, they're open the weekend. You gotta have a day or two to close and do things, right? And so I looked around and I took out my nifty things I want to do in Paris, and right by my house in the third, possibly fourth arrondissement, I'm not sure quite where it is, I think it's technically the fourth arrondissement, is the Centre Pompidou. The Centre Pompidou is Paris's modern and contemporary art museum. It boasts a collection of 140,000 pieces. So it is huge. It has a massive, massive collection. So I'm going to talk you guys through some of this as we go, but I wanted to show you guys what I think is probably a hugely underappreciated museum of Paris in the hopes that when you guys visit here, you'll come. So first of all, let's look at the building. Obviously, this building is amazing. If you like contemporary architecture, the building itself is worth seeing with the big tubes and the escalators and the glass. Just the building in and of itself is worth the walk over from the first arrondissement or taking a bus or taking the metro. It'll take you a whopping 10 minutes to get there if you're already visiting most of the tourist attractions in Paris, right? So you should walk over if for no other reason than to see the building. So here we are kind of going up the escalators on the inside of the building. You'll see the Eiffel Tower, you'll see all kinds of landmarks, and that in and of itself is obviously cool. So once you see that, we'll start talking our way through some of the art exhibits and how the museum's organized. One thing that you probably don't know about me is I actually took a class in college on curating museums. And I never wanted to be a curator, but there's an art form to how you design a museum. And as I go through and talk to you about how this one's designed, what I thought was really cool about it. So the views from the museum are amazing. You get a beautiful view of downtown Paris, of the Eiffel Tower, of some other landmarks, and it's on this patio with water and sculptures, and it would be a great place to spend some time in quiet reflection. Or I think that the museum's worth going to, honestly, just see the views. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys a little bit of a picture of it so that if you do decide to go, you know what you're in for. So let's get to the meat of it, the art, the important part. Being a contemporary modern art museum, the time frame is roughly 1910-ish, roughly, all the way up through present. The museum itself is primarily organized chronologically. The museum has 140,000 pieces in its permanent collection. So A, it can't all be displayed at one time, and B, even if I wanted to show it to you all at one time, I can't. A quick note here, and I'm going to make this in every video. I actually don't really like taking pictures of people's artwork. I kind of consider it a little bit of theft because that's their intellectual property. That having been said, I'm not showing you this to, try and duplicate it, but merely to try and encourage you that if you happen to visit Paris, to put this museum at the top of your list, or as one of the things you'll go visit, particularly on a Monday when everything else is closed. So I am showing you some of the art. So the museum starts around the 1910, continues up to present. It's organized around two long corridors with a left and right side of each, and you weave in between rooms following the chronology. There's certainly some special exhibits, like the one I'm kind of showing you here, that can take up an entire room. There's some film, which obviously I didn't duplicate for the reasons I just mentioned. And then there's some special exhibits. What I noticed was, for example, there was a whole room devoted to people that were in insane asylums. I'm showing you that art. This is one of my favorite pieces. The person who did this particular piece of art actually wrote his own language. And it wasn't known till later when people analyzed it that he had written a language centered around celestial events that nobody could read at the time because they weren't sophisticated enough. So they sent this man to the insane asylum, and it turns out he was really just that brilliant. So they actually had a whole room devoted to people who had been declared insane by society. And then they had some kind of collection pieces that were in the center hall. They're really big, like the one I'm showing you here, or there were some Andy Warhols and some Jackson Pollocks. I'm showing you the Jackson Pollocks here because I had a strong emotional response to both of the Jackson Pollocks. I didn't even know I was a Jackson Pollock fan until I stood in the presence of this artwork and realized that I had an emotional response. So here's the point. If you like modern art, I would highly, highly encourage you to visit the Centre Pompidou and really take at least a half a day. You need a half a day. It's big enough. You could spend the whole day. Whole day's too much. You'll get bored, or at least I would. But a half day is kind of the perfect timing. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it because I really enjoy making these videos and this content. I hope you guys enjoy it too. I hope I encourage you to visit the center and to enjoy your trip to Paris. So, bonne journée. Thank you for watching. Merci beaucoup.